This is a demonstration on how to set up your folders and files for websites. So first of all, we need to, I'm going to open up the Finder application, which works on a Mac. You'd probably use My Computer if you're working on Windows. And I need to have a place to keep my website folders. We're going to make 3 or 4 websites in class, and you need a place to keep those websites organized. Now, you could put them on your desktop, but desktops are kind of like, throwaway files. They aren't like places to keep things that you're going to work on indefinitely. You could put them in your downloads. That's not really a good idea either. Actually, I keep mine in Dropbox, and that has a backup built in. But for most of us, I think we should probably keep them in something like My Documents, something like that. The equivalent for me would be the Susan folder. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new folder. I'm going to call it Websites, and I make it all lowercase because that's kind of how that's how we make websites. So I'm going to call it Websites. I'm going to put my websites into this. Oh, I already have one with that name right there. So I'm going to delete this one, and I'm going to name this one Websites, lowercase. Okay, now for the website we kind of started on last week, let's make a new folder called Portfolio, and this will be your portfolio website that we'll make towards the end of class, but we actually did a file towards it already. We made that resume.html file, and that will likely be a page that you'll want to have in the portfolio. So let's go back, and I'm going to find the resume folder. Here's one right here. Actually, it's one of yours from grading. I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to move it over to where I put my folders. Now, it's very important to know where you keep your folders. You can't just go with the defaults. If you're making websites, you have to know where your folders are. And I have put it into the Susan folder, and then there's a folder called Websites, and the folder for this website is called Portfolio, and you already have one thing done for your final project, or one thing started for your final project, or paste that item there. All right, and I'm going to rename this just Resume. I don't get rid of the extra 2 on there. Okay, so now I kind of have a start. When I finish this portfolio, I'll have an index file. Every home page is called index, and I'll have at least 2 other pages. The requirement for this class is to have a website that has at least 4 pages for the final project. Okay, so now let's also make another folder. Oh, and I want to move this back a level. Well, first I'm going to name it. And I'm going to move it back to this level. Okay, so now I have a folder called Websites, and one folder we're going to make is, I'm calling it Pacific. It's for the lab today. We're going to make a website called Pacific Trails, and we're going to make 2 pages today for the lab, and we'll put those exercises in this folder. So when it comes to time to turn in your lab, you're going to, well, on a Mac it's easy, just right click and compress, and that's how you make a zip file to turn that in. Okay, let's make one more folder here too, because we're going to start kind of, put it in the wrong place again. We're going to start making templates. So I'm going to make a folder called Templates, so I have a place to put template files. So when you kind of have something that you want to save, it's not really part of a website, you can put those web folders into the templates file. So now I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to open up Sublime Text, and I'm going to do File, and do New File, and create a new file, and I'm going to call this file save as template.html. Now on a Mac you just say .html, or at least that's how my settings are. If you're on the Windows PC and on the school computers, you have to choose the HTML from that long list of file types. So I'm going to save it. Now I got to save it in the right place, not in my downloads folder. I'm going to go over to my folder called Susan, and then I find the Websites folder, and I find the Templates folder, and then I'm going to save that inside of the Templates folder. I click Save. All right, so now I have a place for this template that we're going to make later today in class. So to summarize, what we're going to do is you're going to create a folder called websites. You're going to find a good place to store that on your computer or on your thumb drive, and then inside that this folder called websites is going to be one folder called Pacific. It's empty right now, but we'll be filling that up later today in class. One called Portfolio, and that'll have the resume file from last week, and one called Templates, and that will have a new template file that you're going to make and then we'll use in class today.